Hello everyone, welcome back to Gent Watches. Today we are going to be starting Season 3 of Mob Psycho 100. This, as I'm recording this video, just came out half an hour ago. So I am early on the train, but if the video goes up, later than other people, that's just because of the way I like my schedule to posting videos and the fact that after I record this video, I'm going right to sleep, so I don't have time to rush it up. But yeah, that's the nature of the beast. I live in Australia. That's when anime is posted. So we are going to be watching Mob Psycho 100 Season 3 today, and I'm very excited, but there are some things that I want to explain first, and I do think these are important context for you guys to know before I go into the show. So please don't skip ahead too much. I mean, if you do, you'll just miss out on important context. Because there's a couple caveats that I need to say before we start watching this show. So I love Mob Psycho. Mob Psycho is an amazing show. The first caveat is that the first 2 episodes of Mob Psycho 100 Season 3 I have actually seen already. And you may be thinking, like, what? There's only 1 episode out. How could you have... If some of you have seen previous videos on my channel, I recently went to the CrunchyRoll Expo in Melbourne, Australia. And when I went to that expo, they were doing a special premiere where they showed the first 2 episodes of Mob Psycho 100. So I have actually seen the first 2 episodes. However, here's the other important thing, and this brings me to caveat 2. I saw them in English sub, okay? And today I will be watching the English dub version of Mob Psycho. Please, I do not need to get into a sub versus dub debate. If you check my channel, you see I watch both subbed and dubbed anime all the time. I'm watching One Piece in sub, but I'm watching Death Note in dub, Like, I split my attention between different things. And I like both sub and dub. I sort of decide based on, like, how I feel at the time, what kind of tone of the show it is. And so there's important things, the reasons that I'm doing dub. The main reason is that Mob Psycho is, even though it's a very, good plot show with a lot of great characterization and a lot of interesting story developments, it is at its heart a comedy show. And in my experience with comedy anime hit a lot better with me when I hear it in English, because comedic timing is a massive thing with comedy, and when I read it, it just doesn't hit as hard. The jokes don't land as well. But when I hear it in English, even if it's delivered worse, technically, which I don't generally believe it is, but even if it was, it still will work better just because I'm hearing it. So that's the first thing. Secondly, I genuinely think Mob Psycho 100's dub was one of the best English dubs in the business. It's like Mob Psycho 100, Steins Gate, like those are like the kings of English dubs. And the reason I think that is because some of the casting was amazing, but mainly the Chris Neosi, I think his name is. I can't exactly remember his name, but who plays Reagan is an incredible Reagan. In that I actually don't like the Japanese Reagan very much at all. I love English Reagan. Now, another small caveat, and I hate that I have to start this video with so many caveats, but it's a very complicated situation. The problem is, I do have an issue with the dub at the current time, and this is a very important statement that I'm making. I do not support Crunchyroll's decision with the state of the Mob Psycho dub. If you are unaware of the situation, I won't explain it all to you. You can look it up. But essentially, the English voice actor for Mob is, I'm just trying to get his name because I don't want to get his name wrong because he's an important player in this. Kyle McCarley. Kyle McCarley was recast in this dub because he was standing up for union dubs and for union actors and fairer things for voice actors. Crunchyroll didn't want to do a union dub. Kyle said, okay, you don't have to do a union dub for this one, but can you at least sit down and have a meeting with the union so that in the future you might be able to incorporate union things? Crunchyroll said no, and they recast him. Terrible decision, disgusting behavior, awful business decision and human decision, for both sides of the story. It's terrible. Crunchyroll made a terrible mistake there, and I absolutely do not advocate for anything that they're doing. I don't want me watching the Mob Psycho dub to be me basically agreeing with what they're saying and putting it out there that I'm on their side. I am not on their side. This is purely a choice for making it easier for me to watch this show and to consume this show. I don't think it's fair that that company can do such a bad thing that they take away a piece of media from me. So I'm trying to get the most enjoyment I can out of the show, but I do think you guys should look into the Kyle McCarley situation and support him and tell Crunchyroll how you feel about this sort of stuff. Even if you don't like dubs, this is still a very important thing because this is about treating voice actors correctly. So I just want to make that clear because I'm you know, somewhat of an actor myself. I've been in like not anything famous or whatever, but I've been in stuff before in the past. I have an agent. I am somewhat an actor, and because of that, it does feel a little bit personal to me when people treat actors like shit. So sorry that was 6 minutes of build up, but I hope you understand that that is a lot of stuff that I had to cover at the start of this video. This is a complex situation. Regardless, we're getting into Mob Psycho Season 3. Again, I've already seen the first 2 episodes, but what I'm going to be getting fresh here is I'm going to be getting the English dub for the first time of this. And I am going to try not to compare the new voice actor for Mob. Kyle McCarley said in this video he doesn't want the new actors who are replacing old actors to be like put in the crossfire because they're just doing their job. It's not really their fault. It's Crunchyroll's fault. So let's not make fun of the new voice actors for anyone. Let's just watch the dang show, okay? I did like these 2 episodes when I saw them in Japanese, but firstly, I wasn't used to it in Japanese. Secondly, I was watching it in kind of a curtained off area with a lot of noise going on and stuff. It wasn't the best experience to watch stuff, it was just fun. So I'm glad that I'm sitting in my room now about to watch this. Okay, 7 minutes of talking. Shut the heck up, gent. Let's watch this damn episode of Mob Psycho 100, Season 3, Episode 1. Here we go.
These warriors opposing the shadows
are called Hunters. Psychics. Oh yeah, the OP. Man, Mob Psycho OPs are so good. They're so creative. And I'm glad I can hear this properly in my headphones now. I was hearing it in convention speakers. Oh man, the art style. Oh wow, that looks so good. Ah, this is so cool. It's like everything everywhere all at once. Oh man, I feel like this is gonna grow on me hard. Halfway through the season, I'm gonna be bouncing along to this song so hard.
I said I was gonna be a plain old office worker.
I'm a first year, so I've got time to weigh my options.
Yeah, rub it in, why don't you? Such stupid names for their schools.
Far different league than us mere mortals.
It's affiliated with a British high school, which means
Fourth.
the chance to study abroad.
Insane.
Studying abroad, huh? That sounds fun.
These? I had to fill out one when I was in school.
Wow,
Still,
they
you're
got
much
Reagan's
better
voice
off
actor
than I
back?
was. I mean, you already know exactly where you're gonna end up in the future.
Oh my god.
Where?
In the future, this may grow into a reputable agency with a small full-time staff.
I mean, only if Mob's around, I reckon.
I've finished cleaning the bathrooms.
Good, but don't feel like you have to check in.
Man,
after
I love
every
this guy.
task.
He's such a good
Yes,
addition
you're
to the
right.
crew.
Hello, Shigeo. It's good to see you.
Listen up, Serizawa. You may be an official team member now, but don't lose sight of the fact that you're still a rookie around here. And you might actually learn a thing or two.
So much bravado for no reason.
Regan's younger than he is.
It would be my pleasure. Do you mind if I ask how much you paid for this?
It cost 80,000 yen.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
What do you think?
You're asking me? Well, I guess.
He has
there's not much
two
to say
very
except
powerful psychics now.
Things obviously cursed in some form or another.
This was simply a test to find out if you were perceptive enough to pick up on my mistake.
I never really thought about it, but the magic effects in this show are so cool. Like the weird dot patterns around them. You see those? Just really creative.
I did it.
What do you think, Mom?
I did it.
It's clear that Serizawa's very powerful.
Oh, how could I be careless enough to break an 80,000 yen NT?
I gotta go fill out some credit applications! Hold it! Not to worry.
What are you going to do with that?
Price grade, Big Bang!
He's so good at
This
the
is one of Reagan's
special
moves where he
move
takes a
shouting.
seemingly simple rice grain and unlocks its true potential. You know, it really doesn't matter all that much what you write down at this point.
Dimple.
Put whatever you want, and if your career path changes down the line, then so be
Yeah, it doesn't really
The
matter.
future we're talking about. I have to take it seriously.
You really are responsible to
I mean,
evolve.
think about it, but you don't stress about it when you're in high
Have you
school.
considered your future, Dimple?
My parents are dead set on me becoming a civil servant, but with my grades, I'm afraid that might be a stretch.
Rank
I'm gonna
2.
study to become a veterinarian since I love animals so much.
That's awesome. I love the Body Improvement Club.
Be a manga artist?
Dude, what the hell are you trying to do to me, man?
I said I needed to have a manga club.
It's okay. I love that the leader of the Body Improvement Club doesn't even see it as embarrassing, so he's like, what?
But I knew what was really going on was
Man, it's
nothing
crazy.
less than a battle for the fate of
It's
the
crazier
world.
that that was the
You
other
fought an
day for
evil
them.
organization and were
It was
able
so
to
long
defeat
ago
them.
for us.
There's not a doubt in my mind. Some people have started calling it a divine tree, even going so far as to worship it.
Nope, it's just broccoli.
Reveal yourself.
Have you thought about your plans for the future, Misato?
Huh? That came out of nowhere. But I guess I could be a photographer? Or maybe a journalist.
60's pretty good. There's
That's
no
for
way
sure.
she doesn't become a journalist,
Uh,
right?
I
That's
don't
her whole
know, This one's
thing.
pretty big.
I don't just mean size.
And I can say this much. It's clear to me there's something worrisome here.
I knew it. I had a good feeling about you, and I was right. Roaches seriously freak me out.
I don't even like them showing cockroaches and stuff on screen.
Over completely false allegations that I grabbed a female coworker's ass. Oh, it's like someone or something's ripping them out of my head.
Don, about this mountain of garbage you've got here.
It's not garbage. It's my legacy.
Oh my
It's a
god.
protective barrier.
What's this photo?
Ah!
I was kind of a rebellious kid.
He's still bald.
You too.
Okay, see you soon.
Yeah, though that many cockroaches and stuff in a thing, you couldn't pay me enough. I'd be like, nah, no
What's going to
thanks.
happen to me if no one's able to rid me of this evil spirit?
And me. If I can't even choose a career path for myself, then what kind of life do I have to look forward to?
I like that he's a mirror of
I've
both
been
of their
alive for 50
insecurities.
years now.
I'm tired. Let's go to bed now, all right?
Oh my gosh, that's actually pretty scary.
There's one thing an evil spirit absolutely can't stand, it's a clean room. That's the garbage house! Double hydrogen water!
This is
Oh,
one
it's
of
so
Reagan's
good.
special moves.
Okay, you two, you're up.
Oh my god, their powers together. It's so cool, even like the characters are just standing still, but everything else is moving, so it looks awesome. Damn.
Ooh, look at that.
I don't know how I can ever thank you. From this point forward, my life is finally going to take a turn for the better.
That's good to hear. Although,
That mentality is just gonna help,
taking a serious turn.
regardless.
I mean, I'm in the same boat. I'm 30 years old and I haven't got anything to show for my life either.
You won't make it in this
okay,
business if
man.
you let the clients get to you like this.
That possibility makes me terrified that I'm going to choose the wrong path.
Yeah.
Have you really been having those kind of thoughts all this time? So I
think a lot of people
why
do.
you brought up the career path survey.
As for me,
18%. What was it at before? 7%?
So you decided you'd like to continue on to high school. If you're aiming for a public school, then you'll have to work on your math and geography.
Oh, that's right. He's in middle school, isn't he? Not even high school. My god. Having those stresses in middle school.
that it? And I don't think my future lies at the Spirits and Such consultation office.
I see.
Please don't get me wrong.
I like how well
comfortable
Reagan
working
takes
here, and I
that.
know I can talk to you about anything. But if I get too comfortable,
Well, duh. I know that, Mom. I was only kidding before. You'll find plenty of things you want to do. Just give it time. You remember what I
Man.
told you about how I first got started here? I figured I'd last about a year, then get bored again and move on to something else.
And then you showed up.
Until here we still are. And as it turns out, I'm right where I want to be, doing precisely what I want to do. The point is, your life is your own. It's up to you to live it exactly the way you want.
I love Reagan.
But for right now, we still have work to do, you know? He's not coming back, is he?
Guess my time has finally come.
Those who ride in the shadow.
Oh, that's the preview, I think. Okay, that was the first episode of Mob Psycho 100 Season 3, Episode 1. So, as I said, I'd already seen that episode, but, I mean, I saw it in the English dub for the first time, and now, you know, being able to properly hear it and take it in fully, and also, you know, rewatches are good because they... Sometimes I get the themes a lot more on a rewatch because I'm not so focused on just understanding purely what's like the plot. So then I can focus on themes and how the themes tie in. And I really like how they just like this. The first episode back, I think it's kind of brave to do a first episode back like this, even if, you know, they're following the webcomic, I guess they're following. Even if you're following the webcomic, and so it's like, this is just where they are in the story, I still think, you know, another studio would have made sure that there was a more action-packed first episode of Mob Psycho, but I think Bones trusts that we're in it and we know what to expect from Mob Psycho. We know that like the action shouldn't be what we're here for. What we're here for is, I mean, you can be here for the action. There's nothing wrong with liking different things about a show. But what the show is really about is the fact that Mob is such an incredible psychic and extremely powerful, and, you know, can put other shonen protagonists to shame with how powerful he is. And yet, his internal struggle is so crippling. It's sort of like the Spider-Man thing. The thing that they did with Spider-Man, like the original Spider-Man comics, like the thing that was interesting about Spider-Man from day one was that as Spider-Man, he actually was a very competent hero for the most part, who could you know, get stuff done, and he was really good in his superhero life, and yet he struggled heavily with his Peter Parker life. And that was the thing that was interesting about the story, was that it was a superhero story that was actually a teen story in disguise, you know? It was about how he was struggling, like how it's basically for Spider-Man, Peter Parker, it's harder to be a teenager than it is to be a superhero. And that's what happens in Mob Psycho. It's harder for Mob to know who he is and come to terms with his emotions and figure out his future than it is for him to take down the most powerful spirits, evil spirits in the world, and the terrible, horrible, world-destroying organizations. He can take them down easily. He can destroy all of them easily, and yet he can't fill in his career guidance form, you know? So that's what is interesting about, well, that's one of the things that's interesting about the show. There's a lot of things interesting about the show, but I like that they start the season with that. Not the most amazing episode of the show, but it gets us back in it and makes us understand, like recenters us in what's really important about the show. And I'm guessing it's also going to tie in slightly to the major arcs of like Mob discovering who he is, because I'm pretty sure this is the last season. So they kind of got to like find a healthy conclusion to Mob's arcs, and yeah, I think they're headed towards it. But yeah, I really love, I mean, watching this episode in English dub, just the thing that I love the most is like getting to hear Reagan properly. Like the special moves are so funny. I love the special moves. It's some of my favorite times in the show when Reagan whips out one of his special moves because they're so stupid and so great. I think my two favorite ones in the series is one, obviously, this is probably most people's favorite, but the self-defense rush where like there was that incredibly powerful teleporting guy and the person who beat him was Reagan because he was blind and he was only focusing on people with psychic powers and Reagan has none, and because Reagan just walked up to him slowly and yelled self-defense rush and then punched him in the face. So funny. That was one of my favorites. And the other one, I can't remember the exact bit of it, but it was like his digital exorcism or whatever, and he like does this really dramatic thing with the keyboard and like it's smashing down, and then it cuts to what he's doing and he's using Photoshop to erase the person out of the picture. So good, so funny. But yeah, that was really great, and I love the scene at the end. Reagan is such, like, not only a well-performed character in the English dub, but he's such a well-written character in all forms of Mob Psycho. In that, like, we were introduced to him as a con artist, and we constantly, you know, fall into the trap of thinking that this dude is just, like, using Mob. And in a very small way he is. Maybe not a very small way, but there's a chunk of him that is using Mob. But then there's another major chunk that he genuinely cares about Mob, and he will do what is best for Mob. In the end, he's going to come around and do what's best for Mob and guide him. And he does think of himself as Mob's mentor. It's so great to see a scene like that at the end, where Mob finally comes to the realization that, like, I don't know if this is what I want to do with my life. Like, just be working under Reagan for my entire life. I don't think that is. And he just honestly sits down with Reagan and says, like, hey, this might not be what I want to do. And Reagan doesn't push back at it at all, and he's like, well, yeah, like yeah, that's fine. You don't have to worry about me, and you don't have to worry too much about what's in your future. Sometimes, and as he said, sometimes you'll start stuff on a whim and it will become what you love, you know? It will become the incredible thing. That's the thing. You just gotta, like, I don't have the best advice for you, so I'm not gonna give you career advice. But like, if you're working towards something, that's kind of all you can do, you know? You can't beat yourself up for the fact that you're not getting 100 steps done in a day. Just see if you can get one done. And if you can get one done, then you're always taking a step towards your goal. That's okay. You can take your time. Especially when you're in middle school. I can't believe he's having to go through this in middle school. I mean, we don't have middle school here. We have, at least in Adelaide, we have primary school and we have high school. There are probably a few exceptions, but primary school is from grades reception, which is like right before the first grade. So reception to 7. So that's 8 different grades. And then high school is from 8 to 12. And that's it. So you stay in a school for 8 years, and then you stay in a school for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, another 5 years, and then you're done. The fact that people have middle schools is crazy to me. Like, the fact that you go to elementary school and then middle school and then high school. Like, I know it doesn't seem that crazy, but it's like you gotta move around that much. It's hard enough for you to like move to a new school and make new friends and all that sort of stuff. And I know a lot of people move to the same school, so it's like you'll move with people a lot of the time anyway. But it's still like, that's a big adjustment, and you have to do that. You have to do that for 3 different schools instead of 2. I'm surprised you have to do it for 2, to be honest. You know, there are some like academies or whatever that are from reception all the way to up to year 12. I think actually the high school that I went to, they didn't offer it at the time, but now I think they actually do offer it you can go there from reception to year 12. Honestly, I think if I was to redo school, and I'm thinking about it, I would probably do that. Just stay in one school the entire time, you know? Doesn't matter. Anyway, that was Mob Psycho 100, Season 3, Episode 1. Thank you very much for joining me. Please make sure to like the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Go to my Patreon account for full-length, early access, and exclusive videos. But yeah, that's it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.